Keep it moving. Let's go over to the Big Ten. Let's talk Oregon headed to Kinnick Stadium against Iowa. This is the 2:30 CBS game with the primetime crew. Oregon's a 6.5-point favorite against the 20th ranked college football playoff Hawkeyes. JP's dropped his full thoughts, full breakdown on the Oregon game on his fan perspective, streaming live on our YouTube right now. Check it out. Give it a like. Make sure you hit the subscribe button while you're on the channel. Anyway, but let's break this down. How we feeling if we're not a fan, and then we'll go to the fans' perspective. Jake, why don't you go first for us? Do the honors as an Iowa State guy.
Oh boy,
I'd love to hear this.
And Big Ten guy.
Big Ten Jake.
Yeah, Big Ten Jake. So I'm just gonna nail this pick. I've been perfect on all my Big Ten picks. I'm not like 10 games below or against the spread board at all this year. So I've been absolutely perfect nailing this conference. I mean, it's just like something's going to break. Is this a breaking point for Oregon? As maybe I couldn't figure out a better word to describe it, but is maybe Oregon a little more fraudulent than we kind of thought they were early in September? This is going to be a make or break point on if this team is a legit national title contender. I still think it's a good playoff team, but we're going to figure out if this team's actually going to be able to raise the crystal ball at the end of the year or not. And for Iowa, I know they don't do the crystal ball anymore, Jordan. Thank you, though. For Iowa, the only question I really have in my mind is they've been playing good football. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I wonder the offenses that they've played, has it been very competent? And I know Indiana went to Kinnick Stadium and Iowa put up a hell of a fight and showed that their defense can push them to the brink in Kinnick Stadium anyways. But Oregon's been really good at stopping the run this year, even against teams like Indiana, like Penn State. You saw Katron Allen have a little bit of success against that Iowa defense. So that might be the barometer you want to measure here. I think the defensive line is the strength for this Oregon team. I like Bear Alexander and crew, especially in the interior defensive line. For me, I'm going to be honest, I don't really have a side here. It's clear that Oregon can go into big environments and win. They won the whiteout at Penn State. I think for Iowa, it's imperative to create big plays early, your turnovers, your special teams plays. Frankly, a touchdown in the first quarter feels imperative for this one. Going back to even some of Iowa's games recently, Iowa hasn't scored in the first quarter. I should say a touchdown. I think one of those three things is going to keep Kinnick Stadium absolutely jacked up and engaged right away. If you're a team like Oregon, what'd they do, fellas? They went into Happy Valley and they got up, 20 points or something? They really took the crowd out of it for the majority of the game. Penn State makes a bit of a comeback. Don't get down early. And we know that. Obviously, that's pretty obvious. Iowa's not a team to play down 20 points, kind of like that Penn State team was. It's going to be a slugfest, though. Like, the weather's a real thing. It's going to be rain. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cruddy. I know in the Northwest, they're used to some of that stuff, but both teams rank top 5 in first downs allowed. Defensively, it's going to be a battle of just making the most of turnovers and just putting a couple of drives together. I really don't like Oregon hasn't seen a team like Iowa either, though, where I think Gronowski adds a different element offensively that I don't think Oregon has really been tested with yet either. So there is an edge for Iowa in some of this spot. So I know I kind of just threw a lot of it up in the air, but somebody tell me if I'm wrong. Is there an edge here for Iowa for them that I'm missing? I don't know. Maybe that's why we throw it to the fan perspective to really take that answer from me.
JP, you want to chime in now or you want to go to Reese first?
Special teams in yardage. Oregon traditionally has not. It's fine. They're fine at it. They're not elite at it. Iowa's had their issues to this point this year, but you win that, you're already playing Iowa football. Like, you lose the yardage battle. I would also say there is an edge in Iowa's run game. Oregon's defensive front is really good, but Iowa's shown the ability to run the football on anybody. And if we're going to tout or be shown that this offensive line is one of the best 2 or 3 in the country, it needs to show up in this situation. So I'd say it's a perceived edge, I'd say.
Yeah, I think the national viewpoint on Oregon's kind of taken a turn after the college football playoff rankings came out, and then all the discussion started going around their schedule and who they've played. And granted, it's been significantly less than the rest of the top 10 within the college football playoff ranking. But even a comment came in from 1-2 of Oregon's signature win being Northwestern. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. I think at the time, I think hindsight's 2020. We can all look back at the whiteout game and say, well, Penn State sucks. They should have won that game. At that time, Penn State did not suck. Right. They were not bad. They still had their starting quarterback. They still had their head coach. Like, this program was not in the fire shamble that it was now. And you could probably, even to this day, if you took Penn State in that situation with the same exact team, put Drew Aller back in there, put James Franklin back on the sideline, there's probably only a handful of 5 to maybe 10 teams that you would pick to go in and beat Penn State in the whiteout game. And would Iowa be one of those? No. So I wouldn't, and that's not a shot at Iowa, but that's still a damn good win for Oregon. And it's going to help them getting into Kinnick. It's going to be a crazy atmosphere this weekend. I think when you're Oregon, your plan's pretty simple, right? It's laid out for you, especially within the rain. Load the box, make Gronowski throw the ball. He hasn't been consistently doing it all year. 4 touchdowns, 4 picks on the season. Granted, that's kind of the offensive identity of Iowa's taken once they realized what they could do with his legs. So I think the recipe's out for Oregon. I think them playing in a tough game already helps. I just think there's an athlete play here that's not being accounted for, especially when it comes to the wide receiver position. Who has more weapons, Gronowski or Dante Moore? I think there's a pretty clear answer there if you've watched college football. But it's still going to be a dogfight. Like Indiana, when they went in, their struggle, they couldn't convert a third down. They were 3 for 14 on third down. It's going to be probably pretty similar numbers. I think if Iowa wins this football game, it'll be a 13-10, a 10-7, something like that. It'll have to be a Phil Parker masterclass, which we've seen over and over again in these big-time spots. So don't write off Iowa. 6.5 feels like, oh, it's a touchdown game, right? The top 10 team against the 20th ranked team. It feels like a lot compared to what
I don't think anybody's writing them off. I mean, they are, the CFP rankings trump everybody at this point. They're ranked 20 in the poll.
There's more people 20th. Questioning why they're ranked 20th than there are people saying that Oregon's not going to win this football game.
Sure.
I would say that outside of our Midwest bubble for sure. Reese.
Yeah, I think JP kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, what strikes me is if I was going to be in this game, I think first quarter, you can't give up. I don't think you can even give up a field goal or a touchdown, because I think when you look at that Iowa-Minnesota game, like that game turned into what it was because of that defense and that special teams. Like it was over just like that. And if Iowa is going to make this football game, special teams or defense, I think has got to do something big in the first quarter, because JB talks about Iowa's run game is maybe the edge in this game, but the issue is that can be good. But if Oregon is able to get up early, if Oregon gets up, 10 or 8 or whatever it is, actually, no, make that 10, double digits. And then Iowa has to start throwing the football. Like you talk about Park. I think that's where the issue is, where they just don't have the guys like Gronowski. They're going to rely on his legs, but if they guys start throwing the football, that's where I see issues. Because then you also talk about too, I think Oregon just has more weapons on the outside. But yes, the secondary and defense at Iowa is fantastic. Like Phil Parker, he's going to have a game plan. He's going to have stuff figured out. And then, it is Dante Moore. So he's still a young quarterback. And that going into Penn State, I think that game was 3-3 at halftime. And then all of a sudden it just kind of erupted into what it was. So I don't see them, getting out to a huge lead. If they do, I still think the kid can make some mistakes because he is young. But at the same time, if you're Iowa, you got to keep this thing within a touch on the whole game. You got to make it ugly. You talk about it's going to be 13-10, 14-10, 17-7, because we know this Oregon offense, they're averaging 41 a game and they're averaging 430 yards a game. And then Iowa's only giving up 12 a game and 240 yards per game. So does one completely take over, or do they meet somewhere in the middle? And if you meet somewhere in the middle, the issue is Iowa, I think, is going to have to go score 20 plus points against this Oregon defense, which has been solid too. So I think if that in lies, is it going to be one side is going to be completely dominant, or is it going to be somewhere in the middle to kind of see what we can do with this one?
JP, thoughts, feedback on what you heard from the panel?
Nope. Just, it's the same stigma that's been, the Iowa football in the 2020s. It's what it's been, right? It's just what you're going to get until proven otherwise. And this is your opportunity to prove otherwise.
So is there a thought in your mind that they could come out and throw the football well, or do you think that'll even be in the game plan?
I think they've thrown the ball fine. We haven't had to. We've dog walked teams for weeks now. So, and it's one of those things where yes, there are hiccups. They're not going to beat you vertically with skill positions, but they have done every piece of that they want. Like it's been fine. This isn't a team to compare their passing offense to another team who is consistently really good at getting vertical isn't fair in what the scheme is what I'm saying, I guess.
I guess my biggest standout here is the over-under 40.5. Everything in my mind screams under. The weather, like the way these teams are going to have to play, the way they will both have to play to win. I think if you're Iowa, it's a really good team at forcing turnovers, especially in big games. They've done it for years over years under Phil Parker. That's when Oregon got in trouble, boys. Like when Oregon lost that game to Indiana, Dante Moore with 2 picks. They put a couple balls on the ground, didn't lose them. You can get yourself in a real tough spot in Iowa City if you do that this weekend. So let's go to picks in this one. Oregon 6.5 as a road favorite against the Hawks. Where do you see it? Give us your pick. We'll go to JP at the end for a score prediction because it's already out there. Reese, you first.
This is where top 10 teams go to die in November, JP. I will give you that. But I think in this spot, I'm going to take Oregon in this spot. I also think it's Dan Lanning. You're number 9 in the college football playoff ranking. This is bulletin board material. I'm trying to go out and prove something, so I'll take the Ducks.
Okay, Jake.
It's funny how college football works. We do it with our rankings every single week. Like we get very consumed in recency bias, and we just really haven't seen this Oregon team in a few weeks. Like they had Rutgers where they just killed them. Nobody had eyes on it. That Wisconsin game was weird.
Monsoon. Wisconsin game was a monsoon.
Yeah.
Ugly.
And last time we really saw this team was Indiana. And like now we just put this narrative in our head, maybe that Oregon isn't as good as we thought they were. I think this is just a game where Oregon's a good reminder of they are still this top 10 team. They are exactly who we kind of thought they were at the end of September. I think they kind of get that mojo back. I think Sadiq, the tight end, gets rolling again. Maybe you see Decory and Moore get going, but I think TJ Hall's been really good. I'll give Iowa that one. So maybe the matchup there leads Iowa. If you're Dan Lanning here for me, please do not run Dante Moore out of the back of the end zone for my cover. Like, can you please not do that? Because I got Oregon here by 7 or 7 to 10 points. I think Oregon finds a way to. It's not going to be a blowout, but I do think Oregon controls the game, and I will take the Ducks to cover.
Yeah, I don't see a blowout, obviously, and neither does Vegas, but I don't see a blowout for either team in any scenario I can play out in my head. But hey, it's college football in 2025. Anything can happen. I don't know. I hate the spread. I hate the 6.5. Yeah. It makes me feel terrible because I do think Oregon wins the game, but I think it's like a 21-17. And it's a case where it could be 21-7. And Iowa makes that push, but just can't get over the hump because they can't throw it vertically. And that's just where I see it. I think it's going to be a dogfight. I think there's going to be a couple of massive plays from one or either side. It's going to be the difference maker. But I like Oregon to win the game. But I guess I would take Iowa to cover the number. So Iowa plus 6.5, Oregon to win the game. JP, share with the crew for the general show your score prediction. Who covers?
Yeah, I had 21-13 or 21-18, sorry, at Oregon winning this one. For me, it came down to just one more play, right? I don't really think it's that big. I don't know. I'm not that worried about Iowa's ability to run the football. Like, I don't think this is the run game of the past where you can sit and load the box and feel, we got 8-9 in the box. We're fine. Yeah, you put your corners on island. That does not bother me in the slightest. Like, they've changed and evolved in that form. For me, it's just going to be one more drive and extra first down to get into field goal. Just one more drive with Dante Moore's legs to get out of the pocket. Has he been elite? And am I as worried of him hitting the throws that Mendoza was hitting against Iowa defense? No, not really. No, not a lot of guys. That's why they're called NFL throws. That's what he was doing. So I just got him one more bit, but the problem is what's going to suck is if Iowa loses one by 3, it's still the national narrative that this is just it's not a very good football team, which is just baloney, but it's another story.
I feel like, God, I just try and think back, and it's so hard because Jake just talked about the recency bias. On the flip side, the non-recency bias, like you don't want to pull the Rutgers game, and you're talking about Iowa's defense because they're playing at a completely different level right now. But like Rutgers throwing for 330 yards against this Iowa defense, like trips a small red flag in the very back of my mind. But it also shouldn't because of what they've done, but how different is the talent on the outside? It's going to be a dogfight, gentlemen. What an absolute beauty.
Rutgers has 2 dudes.
This one's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun. We'll see if we'll need a JP reaction video live right after. I like those. Those get me a little bit of
Go
juice
live.
going, a little Saturday.
Not after the minimal confidence this show has given me in you guys' ability to be my friend in this situation. No,
JP,
you just go-
how I
JP,
operate.
JP,
I
you
won't
just
say a word.
JP,
the
you just
entire
go live
game.
solo. No, it would just be us three. We
I
just
just
sit right
want the
here
car
with JP
video.
go.
I want the car. Put it on your steering wheel. Click record. Let it rip.
Jersey
like the Iowa
Jerry
season.
in the car.
Yeah, but don't poop your pants. But all right, that's Iowa and Oregon. What a matchup that's going to be within the Big Ten. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Appreciate the comments coming in from Chase and 1-2 throughout that preview. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button while you're here.